All right, let's get started. My name is Devin Watson. I'm here today to help you successfully cook your next batch of scrambled eggs in the microwave. So to get started, the goal of this video is to get you to understand how to successfully and thoroughly cook scrambled eggs in the microwave. Now, you're going to need a couple of items while we go through this if you would like to follow along. Otherwise, just take out a piece of paper and a pen or pencil, take some notes. There should only be 4 easy steps here, and let's jump on in. So the first step is to gather all of your ingredients. I have it out here on the counter, and I'm just going to go ahead and walk through. First, a bowl for mixing the scrambled eggs. Second, and probably the most important part, probably should have started there, is your eggs. These are 2 large eggs. You can use medium-sized eggs or whatever eggs are in your fridge. These are pulled from the refrigerator, and I will get to cracking those a little bit later. Next is seasoning salt. I've picked seasoning salt because that's my preference in adding to eggs. If you don't like seasoned salt, use regular salt, maybe some pepper, anything you feel that would taste good with your scrambled eggs, feel free to add them in there. Next, items you need for preparation is some stirring utensils. I'm using forks, and I found that whisking eggs and scrambling the eggs is done just fine with forks. If you want to use a good old whisk, you're more than happy or more than welcome to. I found those are a little bit harder to clean once you're done. Next is canola oil. This is so you don't get any eggs stuck to your eating dish. This is the last item you're going to need, which you'll be cooking the eggs in, and covering this with some plastic wrap, of course, so we don't get any splatter over the counters or in the microwave. All right, we are first going to want to make sure we successfully crack the eggs within the stirring bowl without any shells. Now, that is one of the challenges I've had in cooking my eggs, is learning how to get no shells in the bowl. So let's start here. If you can see, I'm going to just crack it simply right over the side and edge of the bowl, stick my thumbs in between where I just cracked it, separate the egg, and of course, there it is. I got a nice shell in the bowl. I'm going to show you this as an example of how to get a shell out of here. While you may not be able to see, it's in there. Take the shell that you've just cracked, stick it in, and scoop out the shell. Life hack right there. I'm going to go ahead and grab the other egg, do the same thing onto the whisking. So now that you've got both eggs in your bowl, go ahead and just whisk it on up. Continue whisking. All right. Now maybe we can see that consistency, maybe not. Actually, let's do this. There we go. That is what your consistency should ideally look like, is a smooth yellow all throughout. You could do that, and that's some good eggs right there. All right, next up, we're gonna make sure we don't get these eggs stuck on to our mug. Get the canola oil, get your cup, do a nice little spray through. Make sure it's all throughout. Looks good to me. And go ahead and pour the whisked eggs into the cooking utensil, which is a mug. Go ahead and set the bowl off into the sink. Next item, putting some plastic wrap over the mug. This is a key step. And if you're a husband or if you're living with roommates, they will appreciate this because it's not going to get the microwave dirty. Take your other stirring utensil. Notice I had 2 stirring utensils. This one's clean. The dirty one I whisked with is now in the sink. Go ahead and poke twice through the top of the plastic wrap, as I just failed to show you how I poke through it. Taking the fork, just jab right through it. Poked 2 holes through the top of the plastic wrap. That allows it to ventilate while it's cooking. Go ahead and now stick the mug into the microwave, do 1.5 minutes. While it's cooking, I'm going to mention I'm going to pause it during the whole cooking. It's 1.5 minutes. I'm going to pause it 30 seconds through and stir it. All right, I'm now at the 30-second interval, and we'll do this twice throughout the cooking. You may not be able to see in there. There's a little bit of yellow you can see through the top of the plastic wrap. In order to whisk it while it's cooking, go ahead and give it a nice little shake and jiggle. Make sure we're getting the eggs mixed around in there. Continue the cooking for the last 45 to minutes of the time left. 45 seconds on the clock and cooking. And while I was cooking and mixing this, I failed to add the seasoning salt while mixing it and whisking it. So if you prefer to add substance to the mix of the eggs, go ahead and add it while you're whisking it, as I failed to show you. But the day's still young. The eggs aren't done because they're not in my belly yet, which means I can still add the seasoning salt to my eggs before I eat them. And as we wait for this to finish, I'm going to recommend the next step. So cooking it for 1 minute and 45 seconds, approximately 2 minutes if you wanted extra done. Once it's out of the microwave, it's important to leave it sitting on the counter. Grab it with both hands, that's a little hot. Woo! Let it rest for 45 seconds. It continues to cook while it's in there. I'm going to lift the plastic wrap off the mug just a little bit so it can ventilate a little bit more. After that 45 seconds comes along and I remove all the plastic wrap, I'm going to add some seasoning salt to the top of that, mix it up with my utensil that I haven't touched raw egg with, stir it up, add a little bit more seasoning salt, and it's good to go. Now you can successfully and hopefully enjoyably eat scrambled eggs cooked from the microwave in a mug, and perhaps one of the cleanest ways to cook eggs because you're not having to use a stovetop with a pan or an oven. I hope this was informational and insightful on how to cook your next batch of scrambled eggs in the microwave. May your future endeavors with scrambled egg cookings be clean, tasty, and safe. Thanks.